If I had to choose one way to grow a YouTube channel, it would be to improve my YouTube thumbnails, because if you get a YouTube thumbnail that is highly clickable and it gets a very high click-through rate, there is a very, very high chance of YouTube recommending that video to other people on YouTube. It shows up as a suggested video, it shows up in search. So I always recommend people improve their YouTube thumbnail as the #1 strategy to grow a YouTube channel. The biggest problem is at some point you are going to get to a point where you really can't make your thumbnail any better, or maybe you think you are making the best thumbnail that you can. But I did find a solution to really stepping up YouTube thumbnails that I really haven't seen other people utilize. Okay, so I'm going to make this video to show you exactly how to do that. And that is by adding elements to your YouTube thumbnail that are in 3D format. Let me show you exactly how to do this step by step. So here's a YouTube thumbnail I designed previously. Now, I got this template from a platform called Envato Elements, and I will link to how I create these type of thumbnails. But I did use a 2D object here, right? This just is a graphic I got from Envato Elements, but I'm gonna replace it with a 3D object that I think is gonna make this YouTube thumbnail really stand out. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. Now, I'm using Photoshop to do this, and I do have a link to a free trial of Photoshop. So if you wanna try Photoshop totally for free, so you could follow along, you could go ahead and do that. You could also use another platform that is called Canva, and you should get similar results, okay? So I did my design, now I'm just missing that graphic. So where do I get that graphic? Well, the same place that I got that Photoshop template to make my thumbnail, but they have a whole section under more categories called 3D. And I just went to this page called All 3D. And I do have an affiliate link below this video to Envato Elements. So you could click that and you could sign up for this. But this is not, again, just for 3D objects, right? Again, I got my graphic template for YouTube thumbnail here, but you could pretty much get whatever you want for your YouTube channel here, from stock videos to photos to presentations to graphics. The previous graphic I showed you on that thumbnail was from here as well, and sound effects and music. And I've made a ton of videos on this channel about some of these other things that I use, but it's kind of an all-in-one bundle where you get whatever you want all for one monthly price. Then I came over here, I'm gonna search for money, right? I had a money bag. This is related to YouTube monetization. So I'm gonna look up money and look at all these cool 3D elements. So I did browse through, and this one's really interesting. I'm gonna click on this one because look what you could do here. Typically with a graphic, you just get this, right? But if you rendered this in 360, you could actually grab this and rotate it any which way you want to make your thumbnail stand out. And you could choose, you know, this version of it instead of whatever we started with. And you could download as a PNG. So the PSD, this will kind of give you that Photoshop file. But if you were not using Photoshop, you could just download as PNG. I'm gonna download this angle as a PNG. I'm gonna press download here and download it. I already have an account and it downloaded to my computer. So I'm gonna jump back into Photoshop here and I'm gonna grab this from my downloads folder. I'm gonna drag it over to my Photoshop document, and there it is. I'm gonna bring it over here and I'm gonna go ahead and stretch this out and put it somewhere over here and press the check mark. I'll stretch out even more here and let's put it over here and press the check mark. Now I think this is a much more interesting version of a YouTube thumbnail, and you could still, if you're using a platform like Photoshop, add things like a drop shadow. So I'll put a drop shadow to it to make it really stand out. You see now it has some shadows. It looks really 3D in this image. And right now I'm making a video about Bitcoin. So I'm gonna go ahead and search for Bitcoin and check this out. There's a bunch of different graphics just like that in 3D. Again, you could render anything you see, so you could change the angle of view here, the rotation, if you wanna look something from the top, from the bottom. You have many options here using 3D objects here inside of Envato Elements. And I'll just browse through here because it's not just related to finance, right? You have different objects for just about any category you could make a video about. So you could choose any one of them here, render, and then change the view. If you just like it as is too, you could just download it as is. You don't always have to render in 3D to rotate. You could just download the objects as is. And a lot of them have very realistic shadows and textures here that I think are gonna make your YouTube thumbnails really stand out. So again, since I'm always in a search of making my YouTube thumbnails unique, because as you know, there are millions and millions of videos uploaded to YouTube every single month. So to stand out with a YouTube thumbnail, it's getting harder and harder. And this is one of the most unique things I've seen for making YouTube thumbnails stand out. So I hope you find this video useful. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe for easy to follow social media and tech videos, and I'll see you next time.